Well, God bless this broadcast. One of our favorites back in action. Producer Jason Shuman, who you love. Oh, the humanity. Uh, One of the more intrepid creative forces within our business. Definitely an entertaining guy to talk to. You know his work. He produced several of my favorite films, including Lone Survivor and Role Models, which I love. Paul Rudd, genius. But movies that would have not been made or not been that good without the Jason Shuman experience. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing as good as can be,
Yeah,
hanging in there.
you're basically, you know, you had to ford up because of the pandemic. Basically, you're Omega Man in the Hollywood Hills. What have you been watching? What's Jason Shuman been? How's he been dividing his time?
Knowing I was coming on the show last night, I did something very special last night because I had it queued up on my iTunes forever. And I watched the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2.
Oh, yeah.
Have you watched this?
I have. What did you think?
Well, I mean, I remember when Richard Donner came to USC when I was a student there. And I remember him passionately talking about his Superman 2. And I never forgot about that little interview he did in person at USC. So when I saw it, like available to watch, first of all, I didn't know it existed. I put it on my queue and I was so excited because I remember him talking about scenes he had shot, about Lois Lane jumping out the window to test Superman, about all this like hour of footage that he shot for the movie that got like some used and then a lot of it got thrown out, and Richard Lester came in and he seemed to have a lot of anger about it. And so I watched it, and I don't think it's as good as Richard Lester's, but I was enjoying it. I was enjoying it. It was a lot more comedic than I think Richard Lester's version was. And I don't know if you remember, I thought I would mention Superman 2 and you would have a big reaction, but you kind of had like a...
Well, no. I don't mean to sell your your first movie out of the gate short. I was at Warner Brothers when they started putting the Donner cut together. In fact, when I started there, Donner was still based there, right next to Silver, even though Joel Silver and he had stopped speaking to each other.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
Even though they kept making the Lethal Weapons, they had stopped speaking?
Well, no, that was done because I started there in 2000. So they'd wrap that up. I mean, I would see Joel Silver walking the lot all the time in his pajamas, and the rumor was they weren't friends anymore. And, you know, Donner's a very well-respected filmmaker, as is Richard Lester. I thought Lester had done some beautiful films. Robin and Marion, The Three Musketeers with Richard Chambers, beautiful. And as a kid, What's that?
Hard Day's Night.
Yeah, Hard Day's Night. It's hard to argue with that one. Beatles. I really like the work of Richard Lester, and I liked that movie better as a kid than the first Superman. But refresh my memory, what's the story with the production? Because if you saw Donner at USC and he's still talking about Superman 2, I mean, this is years after he had done it.
Oh, yeah. I'm at USC in the mid-90s.
Right.
And he's there, and I'm like all excited to see Richard Donner, and everyone has Goonies questions and everything, and Lethal Weapon. But I don't remember anything he talked about, anything else. I just remember that he was like angry about Superman 2, and he was passionately pitching his take. So it doesn't surprise me that they went and let him recut the movie, and you know, they were like, well, we could probably make money on it. But like it gears, he had a definite transition from the end of his Superman 1 because his Superman 2 starts with the end of Superman 1, and it links them together, where it has the whole Zod thing being done by his father, by Marlon Brando's character, and you sort of see how that's all connected. And then it goes right into Superman and Lois Lane, and right away Lois Lane suspects that Clark Kent is Superman. So that's like this whole running thing in the movie where she's testing him, she's jumping out of windows and stuff, and he's constantly having to like save her without giving up that he's Superman. That was not in the eventual Richard Lester movie. The only thing that they kept in the Richard Lester version was obviously that these prisoners had been put in the cool mirror thing floating around the universe for all of eternity. It breaks apart. They come to Earth. So there's the whole moon sequence is still the same when the three baddies land on the moon and they rip the astronauts apart. Like, then they come to Earth and they go to the president of the United States and they're like, Superman, who is the Superman? Come. And so there's like a whole thing with Lex Luthor and him going to the Fortress of Solitude and learning everything. Whereas in the cut that existed, he doesn't know any of the backstory. He's just going to Zod saying like, I can help you. So there was a lot of stuff. It was a lot. It was more than I thought.
I don't know why an intrepid reporter would suspect Clark Kent as Superman. I mean, what gave it away? I'm just curious. And it's interesting that Donner, all those years later, is still lobbying for, like, politically, for his cut to be seen by the world. You know, and that's the trend now. I know from being at Universal that they're really big on bringing back directors to do director cuts of films that they or their studio execs trim. Dune is the big one right now. They've been trying to get David Lynch in there to recut Dune, and he refuses to do it. In some cases, he even refuses to talk about the movie. But the Salkinds produced Superman, and the Salkinds, unlike Jason Shuman, were notorious for, like, gaming the system.
I don't know anything about them except as a kid I remember seeing their name. And I do remember they were kind of a brand because they conned me into seeing Santa Claus the movie when I was a kid, because it was like from the producers of Superman. And then I went and saw like Santa Claus the movie, and I remember my sister and I being like, wow, that was not good.
They build a great film, usually starting with a script and an epic cast. And what I know from the cast of The Three Musketeers is they all thought they signed on for one epic movie. And then when they realized it was being released as two movies, The Three Musketeers and The Four Musketeers, they all had to unionize and threaten a lawsuit to get paid for the second movie. Because there was obviously going to be a second batch of box office. And that was like typical. That was seen at the time, or I've since been told from my own, studio relationships, that was kind of the Salkinds practice of like, well, how much mileage can we get out of this? Now, what happened to go from Superman 1 to Superman 2? Did they try to shoot the two movies together or an extended epic movie? They did.
That's what Richard Donner was so upset about, is that they were going one right into two, and he was obviously the director and was supposed to be of both of them, and he had already started shooting half of Superman 2, and then they fired him. And so a lot of the footage, it's like he was just continuity-wise, he was just going from one movie to the next, and then at some point they fired him, brought in Richard Lester, and they did big rewrite, and the rest is history.
Now, what were the grounds for firing him?
That part I don't remember. I just remember he was very angry.
Yeah, man, it's nice to have you back. What are you going to watch this week? We got to get you back in a week and reconvene.
Well, we've talked about my last 2 months, so give me a couple weeks to fill out my slate, and I'll have new stories for you.
All right, buddy.
I love coming on here.
Yeah, we love you too, man. It's always nice to talk to you. You're very much missed. It's a shame we can't do this live in the studio, but we'll get back to it.
Hopefully soon.
In the meantime, keep doing those creative things you're doing, man. We have a lot of love for you.
Thank you, Ethan. I love you too. Hang in there, and please give my love to the family.
You got it, brother. Likewise. Stay safe. If you need anything, hit me up, man. Have a nice week.